The imaginary unit I. I love talking about imaginary numbers. It's just one of the fun things about math. So the imaginary unit I is denoted by the italicized letter I, and it's defined as I equals the square root of -1. Now we are often told that you cannot have the square root of a negative number, which is true. There are no real numbers that come from the square root of a negative. However, in math, we are able to say if you have the square root of -1, that is the same as the imaginary unit I. So that means if we would square both sides of that initial equation, we would get I squared equals -1. Therefore, the principal square root of a negative number, if we have the number, the square root of -a, where a is any number, it does not matter. That means the principal square root is I square root of a. So that negative sign underneath the radical just comes out. So instead of having the square root of a negative, we have I times the square root of a number. So with that, if we have I times I square root of a, and we square that entire thing, well, I squared is just I squared, and then the square root of a squared is just a. So I square root of a squared gives us I squared a. We know that I squared is the same as -1, so we have -1 times a, which gives us -a. Now, you might think this is very confusing. So we're going to do two problems. We're going to do the square root of -16 and the square root of -20. We're going to walk through this step by step. So first things first. Number one, square root of -16. When you see a negative sign inside the square root, always start by moving the I to the outside. So that gives me I square root of 16. We remove the negative by making it imaginary on the outside. Now we know the square root of 16 is 4, and therefore the square root of -16, which is the same as I square root of 16, is the same as 4I. So the I comes out, and then you just simplify the square root. So let's do the same thing in number 2. We have the square root of -20. So the negative inside results in the I moving to the outside. So I have I square roots of 20. Now we have to simplify the square root of 20. So remember that 20 is the same as 4 times 5, and the square root of 4 is 2. So the square root of 20 simplifies to 2 radical 5. Therefore, I radical 20 is the same as 2I radical 5. So the I moves to the outside, and after we simplify the square root, the I joins the outside.